You're listening to The Flickcast, a pop culture podcast about stuff nerds love. I am Chris Ulrich, and joining me, of course, my favorite co-host in the entire world. That's not an
Wow.
understatement. It's absolutely true. Joe Dilworth. Joe, hello, sir.
Well, gee, I don't even know what to. I can't even just banter after that. Wow.
In the
I,
entire world, I said. That's
I
enough.
feel,
That's a lot.
I feel the same, man.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's a very sweet thing to say. Well, you're also my only co-host, so that's,
Oh well. Okay.
again, a low bar. Yet sincere. Very sincere. So, how are you, man? How's it going?
I'm well, and it's going well. It's
Good.
been, the day job's been extremely busy and stressful and stuff like that. But hey, at least I have this nice outlet on the weekends
That's
to
right. Instead
reclaim
of
my nerdity and reset. So that's good.
Exactly. Instead of like cutting your lawn or whatever suburban people do, you
Yeah,
do a nerd podcast instead, where we talk about pop culture, podcast, nerdy stuff. So there you go. Um,
absolutely.
so speaking of that, you can find us at all the podcast places like Apple Podcast and Spotify and Stitcher and Google and et cetera, et cetera. I know I feel like I say that every time, which is probably true because I do, but and you can find us at patreon.com/theflickcast if you want to throw a show a few bucks. But if you can't do that, at least give us a rating or review. We would appreciate it. And especially at Apple, if you can arrange that, because that's where the algorithm is most favorable to podcasts. So that would be awesome. Thank you
Well,
if you
and,
do that.
and you can always find me and Chris and the show at the Meta Insta Book Twitter
Right.
thing
That's right.
socials.
Find us on Meta. That's where we're going to be from now on. In fact,
Yes,
we're going to be a Meta exclusive. That's it.
there you go. Meta exclusive.
Oh
Ugh,
God. Anyway, don't get me started on that shit.
yeah.
What? Yeah, because that was the problem with Facebook. So anyway, let's not talk about that.
Yes, it was the name.
The
Oh,
name that will solve everything.
if we just
Uh,
changed that years ago.
they could have just changed that years ago. I love the fact that there's a company that makes, I can't remember what they make, like a migraine medicine or something. Like yeah, look at your logo looks a lot like ours. Hopefully your privacy settings are as good as ours. Hello. It was pretty funny because that logo is not
It's not
that
original.
not original. So what a shame.
WebEx,
I'm just
many
I,
other
I I
things.
was having this conversation with a friend of mine who does like design and stuff like that. I'm like, how many consultants did they pay for this kind of shit and to come up with this? Like, I don't know, but they paid them a lot, and this is what they came up with. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty sad, but
Well, it's a company I used to work for revealed their new logo, and it was basically just I don't know, remember what the font is, but it was like Gothic something, and that's basically what they're like. Oh, it's a basic standard logo, and I'm like, you probably paid an agency millions of dollars to come up with that for you, and it's just like so. I'm like, man, I should have gone into marketing because wow, that seems to be where the money is. And obviously, you don't really need to do a whole lot. So,
well, we don't know that. I mean, I say that, but I've tried to design logos and stuff. It's not that easy, but I just basically stick to text for the most
yeah.
part, which is why the Flickcast branding is basically text. So
Actually, in defense of marketing people, I'll tell you that a lot of the times those things happen because the marketing team comes and goes, "Hey, here's all the." They don't just say, "Here's what we have for you." They come up with several things, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to run these by you. Here's all the different things." And it always seems to be from at least the friends that I've had and the limited exposure I've had to it. They're like, "Well, what's this over there? Oh, that was just something we were mocking up early. That's not anything oh no, let's go with that.
yeah.
Seriously? Yeah, no, we want that. Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It was like dealing with clients. I've dealt with clients a lot, and you
Right.
basically they don't know what they want, but they want you to tell them what they want. But then you tell them what they want, and sometimes that's not it. They want something else. So it's really a
Right.
hard. I would say that the most difficult thing about any kind of creative endeavor like marketing or advertising is dealing with clients, managing client
Yes.
expectations. That's like coming up with the creative stuff is also difficult, but managing the clients is really difficult, and that's why people, some people are really good at it and some people aren't. I had some patience for it, but not enough, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, that was a weird digression into marketing, but marketing's
It was.
marketing is important, kids, if you want to get your product out there. So
Yes.
movies get marketed all the time, right? I mean, that
They do.
the
Yep.
common sort of math that they do now is if the movie costs $100 million, they spend another $50 million marketing it these days, or whatever. So
Right. It's like,
if you,
wow, the the movie made twice its budget. It must have been successful. It's like, well, no, we spent way more than that on the marketing, so it didn't really make any money. It's like, what?
Well, sure, but that's also creative accounting too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
But you know,
that's how you get out of paying your bills, kids.
you got to get butts in seats, right? That's the
Right, right.
So you got to.
Speaking of that, speaking of marketing,
Speaking
did
of,
you
really?
see? I'm getting back to the nerdy stuff. Did you see?
Sure.
I know we said what we're going to talk about in the show before the show, and I'm going to totally blow it out of the water. Did you see the trailer for Lightyear?
I didn't watch the trailer for Lightyear because I'm
Okay.
a person who hates animation. No, I didn't watch the trailer yet. I just didn't have a chance. But yes, on this show, we're going to talk about more about Dune a little bit. We're going to talk about Foundation,
Yes.
catch up with that, maybe a few other things. But yes, I know that a trailer exists, and I know that Chris Evans does the voice of Buzz Lightyear, which I think is a good choice.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't. Do we need a Buzz Lightyear origin story? Is that what it is? I don't know.
Well,
I
it's
guess we
not.
do,
So it's the story of the guy that the toy is based on, which I thought is kind of fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and the trailer looks. There's like no dialogue in the trailer, which I found interesting. And it's a teaser, but I thought it was really well done, and I'm up for it. So
Cool. Speaking of no dialogue, I heard that there's an announcement that John
oh
Woo was coming back
yes,
to film. I mean, I'm not saying coming back to filmmaking, but he's coming back to American action filmmaking with Joel
yes,
Kinnaman. But the thing that struck me as weird is like an entire movie without dialogue, which I thought was strange. Maybe it takes place in space where they can't talk. I don't know. But
yeah.
as a person who also is a writer, I sort of appreciate dialogue in some ways.
That
But
seems to be the one of the cool things nowadays, because like there was that Nick Cage movie where he didn't speak at all.
yeah, Willy's Wonderland or whatever it was. Yeah, he didn't speak at all. Yeah,
Then
but
there's
other
the episode of
but other
Only Murders in
characters.
the Building that was no from the perspective of a deaf character, so there was no dialogue in it either. It
Sure,
was cleverly done. So I don't know how
sure.
you do a 2 hour action movie though with no dialogue.
I don't know. Maybe the character's got, he gets like traumatized at the beginning and he can't speak because of like head trauma or he can't hear or who knows.
Oh,
But
maybe it's a deaf character. I mean
well, that
that
could
would be
be.
cool.
But other
I'd watch
characters
that.
other characters can still speak. Like even in, Only Murders in the Building, other characters were doing sign language or they do speak at the end. Um,
Yeah.
but in other situations, I mean, other characters do talk. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. But as a big fan of John Woo, and I also enjoy Joel Kinnaman as well. I will definitely be interested to see how this turns out. I mean, there's no other real details except this is happening, so that's
Yeah,
cool. But
and I'm on board because I like John Woo.
yeah, some of my, I mean, he's definitely one of my favorite action directors. Some of my favorite action movies of all time were made by him, like Hard
Oh yeah,
Boiled, which is a fucking
Hard
masterpiece.
Boiled, The
And The
Killer.
Killer. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, those are the ones that everybody goes to, of course, but those are the best ones. So
they're
there you go.
really good. I mean, I see why. So
Maybe this is a secret project. Like, there's actually Face Off 2 that they're doing.
I would be. I actually like Face Off. I don't know that many people did, but I kind of
I
like.
thought it's a ridiculous movie, but it
Well, yeah,
works.
yeah,
It's absolutely ridiculous. I would see, you know what? It would be funny if it was Kinnaman and Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. They're all going to get back together to make Face Off 2. I don't know.
yes.
I have nothing to substantiate that other than it would be funny to me. And if
I'd
you can
watch
get
it.
Idris Elba and Dave Bautista in it, I'm in 100%.
And Helen Mirren somewhere. I mean, I totally
Yeah,
will watch it.
yeah, it's like Hobbs and Shaw or something. And you got to get The Rock in there somewhere too. Right?
Sure. I mean,
Why don't you
just
get
throw. I don't care if they just sit around and have beers and talk. I would watch that movie.
It would be fun. I think The Rock would probably want tequila, but he's not a beer person, right? So
Yeah, well, that's fine too.
he has his own tequila, which curiously shows up in every interview. Hey, by the way, did you know I have a tequila? Okay.
Well, I mean, it's the same with Ryan Reynolds and his Aviator gin. So
True, but I think I'd much rather have tequila than gin if it were me. But although then we forgot one person though. We need Jason Momoa in the movie too. So
oh, that's right. Yep,
So-
he's got to be in there too.
he's
Yes.
got to be in there. So speaking of Jason Momoa, of course, we could talk about Dune Part 2, which got greenlit. Thank goodness.
Yes.
I don't know that it was ever a question of whether it was going to get greenlit or not. I mean, maybe they like to build expectations, but I feel like you spent this much money on the first part of a movie, you're not gonna. I mean, the story's not done. It's not a complete story. I mean, I guess you
Yeah.
could say, and then they lived happily ever after a bunch of other bloodshed and a giant jihad. But it's fine. But yeah, I'm excited for the second movie, even though, as you rightfully pointed out during the pre-show, some people are still
butthurt over.
Unhappy over this first movie. Many of the complaints include it's too long, it's too boring, it's glacially paced, nothing happens, it's too style over substance. Denis Villeneuve is too pretentious. Is that the word? Pretentious?
Yeah, pretentious. There's even a couple of people that said, well, he obviously hates the books. I'm like, okay.
Right. The books that he read as a kid and has
Yeah.
loved for his entire life. But that's fine. He hates the books. Why did he hate the books? I forget.
I don't know.
Because he didn't have he didn't have Fade Watha in there.
Because he made this movie, and they didn't. Basically, a lot of the complaints I'm seeing are from failed or marginal filmmakers that are just like, God damn it, why is he getting all the focus when? Here's my thing though. Everyone, it's like now that the Marvel movies are coming out again and movies like this, it's like, okay, we can go back to hating blockbuster movies. But I'm like, listen, you just had 18 months of nothing but indie and low budget movies because that's all that could be made or released, and you hated those, but now it's the blockbuster superhero movies where there's only like 5 or 6 of them out of 300 movies in a year that are the problem. I'm like, what? What? How does you got what you wanted and you hated that, so now you're going to go back to the thing that's the easy target? I just don't understand.
Well, the thing that's big and successful, the swing for the fences kind of thing, is always going to be the target of people who are on the margins, or I mean, there are some. I could say there are some things about it that I didn't love, and there are some things that I would have done differently, maybe if it were me. I don't know.
But you didn't make it.
But I didn't make it. Exactly, it's not my movie. So if you don't want to watch it, then don't watch it. As we always say, it's like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. And also, by that same token, you can also be entitled to your opinion, and you can express it if you want to. But the moment you go past, this is my opinion about something too, you shouldn't watch this because if you don't believe what I say, you're stupid, that kind of thing, then you've lost me. But if you have a legitimate opinion about something, that's perfectly valid. It doesn't mean I'm going to listen to you.
Yes.
But,
it's just like a friend of mine was gushing about it on the Meta books, and a mutual friend of ours who is I would say at this point, semi-failed filmmaker. He wrote a script that was a marginally successful movie and hasn't been able to make anything since, and is very bitter about it. But his comment was, "Don't tell me you bought into this whole Dune Denis Villeneuve bollocks." Like, bought into? He saw a movie and he liked it. What is that? I was like,
wait, did he use the word bollocks, by the way?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, he's British, but
I was gonna guess at who it was because we have some mutuals like that. I was just gonna, but it's not. He's not British, so I don't know. Okay, it's not who I thought it was.
Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
But I was just like, what the hell? I mean, again, it's like, oh, don't tell me you bought into this whole Hollywood thing. I'm like, you just hated all the indie movies. This is the same person, by the way, that ragged on every single indie movie that he reviewed over the last, 18 months as being puerile and stupid and dumb.
Sure.
And all this stuff. And I'm like, so if you don't like movies, you maybe A, shouldn't be making them, and B, just don't watch them anymore. I mean, what the hell?
You're probably in the wrong business if you hate the thing.
Right.
Well,
so,
and I kind of think that people, and this might be a controversial take, but maybe people deserve, not for horrible behavior, like if you're an asshole on a plane to a flight attendant or something, that you don't get an excuse for that. But
no,
I'm saying if you have a weird sort of take on something, or if you're like expressing a lot of weird anger issues right now, harmlessly into the void on Meta, then we've also been quarantined for almost 2 years, so it's like,
well, true, yeah. People
are acting a little strange. Like, I'm getting angry about stuff that normally wouldn't bother me sometimes too. And it just comes from a lot of other places. So I don't know if this person's always like that or if it's just a new thing. So
no, pretty much.
Oh, okay. Well, then fuck them. Then that's just that comes from a different place. But you can't hate everything. I mean, that's the thing about people who hate watch stuff. I don't have time for that. And I certainly didn't hate Dune. I really liked it a lot. I mean, plus I'm a person who enjoys beautiful visuals, which this movie has. Someone said they really got bored of watching 2 hours of stock footage, which I thought was funny. Actually, that was a pretty good.
All right, that's pretty funny.
I mean, I don't agree, but it was funny. So
yeah, that's kind of funny. Well, so this person was also like, a movie that we enjoyed, No Sudden Move, he hated because he couldn't believe the lens that was used on it and the focusing. I'm like, What? Okay, that's a reason to hate a movie. Okay,
Wait, is
that's
he
cool.
talking shit about Soderbergh too? Wow, this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
He
yeah,
hates everybody. Who's
yeah.
his favorite director? Let's rat him out right now.
I don't even know.
Let's rat this guy out right now.
Well, I'll tell you who it is later, and the thing that he's known for, and you'll be able to guess who his favorite director is. Although, well,
Quentin
yeah,
Tarantino. No,
no,
no. Is Quentin Tarantino anyone's favorite director? I don't know.
I don't know. He's made some good movies. I don't think he's. I don't know.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that I
He
like
knows how
about
to
Tarantino.
shoot a movie.
He does. Here's the thing. Well, Robert Richardson knows how to shoot a movie too. But here's
Yeah.
the thing I like about Tarantino. He has no fucks for anything. He's like, I'm going to make
No,
the
no.
movie I want to make, and fuck all of you if you don't like it. And I appreciate that. You want to talk about indie filmmaking? I mean, he's like a indie filmmaking, guru, like in the way Robert Rodriguez is. Rodriguez makes kind of the movies he wants to make too, but not
Yeah.
as successfully, obviously, as Tarantino.
Yeah.
But Tarantino, you can also tell about his power by he can pick up the phone and get anyone to be in his movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like,
Yep.
hey, Leo, hey, Brad Pitt, hey, Margot Robbie, hey, everyone, come and work with me. And they would drop the fucking hat or whatever and drop everything and come and work with him. So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
power. That's, like his movies or not, that's power. I don't know if Denis Villeneuve is at that point yet. Wow, good, Chris. You're good at this talking thing.
Yeah. I don't know if he's at
if
quite
he's
at
at
that
that level,
point,
yeah, but
yeah.
although I don't think you'll have any trouble casting Dune Part 2 for the parts that haven't been cast yet, which we're going to talk about in a minute, actually.
We are.
I have
Yes.
some spec casting ideas for some of the major roles that hadn't, or the major characters that haven't appeared in the movie yet. But yeah, like every popular thing is always going to have detractors. Everything, if people like something, there's always going to be that person who hates something, and they like something that you don't like, and that's perfectly fine. And
It is.
I mean, one of my good friends that I have known for years, and we talk all the time, and we work together sometimes. He didn't like it at all. He hated it. Actually, thought it was terrible. So I'm curious. I'm going to pick his brain when I see him again and ask him what his opinion was and why he thought that. Because I'm curious. Because there's people, and I'm sure you have people like this in your life. Their opinion carries more weight
Yes.
than
Yes.
others, randos on the internet. So it's like, I'm curious. I'm very curious why he felt this way, because he's usually not a reactionary type person. So obviously it's a well thought out argument. So I'm curious what it is. But
It's
and again, I'm sure we've touched on this many times, but those people are probably just generally angry in life
Yeah.
and are miserable in their lives. So they just want everyone else to be miserable too. So,
Yes.
I mean, people like that. Those are toxic people you just necessarily don't want to be around or discuss. And here we are discussing them. But who was your favorite YouTuber again? I can't remember. It was like Cock and Balls 25 or something. I can't remember his name.
Doomcock.
Doomcock. That was it. So what did
Yes.
Doomcock think of Dune? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I don't like religiously follow him. Every once in a while, I'm
okay.
like, well, I'll say this: the only time I ever go kind of glance at his feed is for some reason something will come across one of my news feeds about. Google is weird about this. Google News. It's like, oh, Kathleen Kennedy's getting fired, or Star Trek is out. And I look at the article, and it's always from like there's this one site that we've got this covered, and they've spawned like 2 or 3 other sites because everyone knows that their main site is bullshit. And I'm like, oh, it's from that site. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to kind of go look. And they're like, yeah, YouTuber Doomcock says. I'm like, oh, well, there we go. So internet sources tell me, and they're legit.
Well, yeah, I'm just curious about what Doomcock thinks and then what Robot Head thinks. Have you watched Robot Head at all?
No, I have not.
He's another YouTube. Now, I will say this about Robot Head. He's very popular. His channel is very popular, or I assume it's a he because he comes off as a dude. But you don't know. It could be a
You
voice
don't?
mod. You don't really know, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. Robot Head, I'll just say, does make some good points, especially about Star Wars stuff, about recent Star Wars stuff, and with Kathleen Kennedy and stuff like that. Just made some good points about that. And also, I think I started watching him occasionally because of his Game of Thrones commentary, which was pretty spot on too, I have to say. His opinion of Dumb and Dumber, kind of, which bums me out in a way because I love Game of Thrones, and then it just went to shit. And then they're involved in the new 3 Body Problem show for Netflix, and I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed about that because
That's a shame.
Yeah, I feel like once they got away from the source material and were making it up, the show Game of Thrones kind of fell apart. So I'm not too. I want to watch it because the book is really good, but at the same time, I kind of don't.
Did you like? Did you really like the book? I found it kind of glacially paced.
I I thought it was okay. I mean,
It was
it
okay.
wasn't.
Yeah, it didn't blow my skirt up that much, but
I, I'm. I don't feel I wasted my time reading it.
yeah,
I liked it. I think there was something else I read by that same author that I thought was kind of the same, and I'm like, you know what?
yeah.
This is probably not for me. But I'm glad I read it. I thought it was interesting. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
was. I don't. Yeah, I can't put my finger on exactly what I didn't. It didn't. I mean, I read it and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I know that I didn't dislike it, and I didn't dislike it enough to stop reading. And I'm not going to hate read stuff either. So it
right,
held my
right.
interest enough, but there were parts of it that I felt maybe I don't know. It just sort of fell apart sometimes for me, and I can't put my. I had to think about it some more, but I just remember not being overwhelmed. But I was like, oh, that's pretty good. I
Yeah.
wonder. And I remember thinking, I wonder when this will be a show, and now it is. So there you go.
Well, no. See, I read it and I'm like, okay, that was good. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was the best thing ever, but nothing. Not everything has to be that. It can be totally like, yeah, that was a satisfying read. But I
Yeah.
didn't. I actually didn't sit there and go, oh, when's this going to be a? This should be a series. I was like, oh,
Well,
that was good.
I assume all IP now is going to be turned into something.
Well,
So I'm
yeah,
like,
that's
this
probably
is going to
true.
be a TV show or a movie or whatever. I mean, because it could be. I mean, if you read it, it's absolutely lends itself to. I wouldn't necessarily try to make it into a feature. It's too much, but you can definitely make it a series.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll watch it,
Yeah, I'm gonna
but I
watch
just
it and we'll see. And if I don't like it in the first couple episodes, like another show that's airing right now, I won't continue. So
well, and maybe it won't get renewed because Netflix also has no problem canceling shit as well. So,
yeah, even popular stuff sometimes.
and
But
I don't mean like in the sense of canceling culture. I mean just canceling, not bringing it back. But
yeah,
anyway, all right. So speaking of Dune, let's just do you. I would say from my perspective, there was like three main characters that were missing, right? So the Emperor, the Padishah Emperor Shaddam the Fourth was missing.
yes,
His daughter, the Princess Irulan, and also, of course, Fade Ruatha Harkonnen, if you want to use his full name. So those are the main characters, and there's also like the Count and Lady Fenring. There's a bunch of other people. Lady Fenring has a deal, has a sort of a tryst with Fade Ruatha, and they figure into the subplot of because she's also a Bene Gesserit and et cetera, et cetera. So there's other stuff. Maybe she was a trainee. I don't remember exactly. It's been a while since I read the book, but so I don't know if those characters will be in, but I have a feeling that obviously the Emperor is going to have to show up at some point, and so is I think Fade's going to have to show up too, and the Princess, right? So I was thinking about which actors would
do you?
play these three roles, and do you have any opinions about that?
Well, the thing I've been thinking about is, does Fade really need to show up?
He
Be,
he 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 does because I think for several reasons. One, I think that it's set up that because Fade eventually takes over Arrakis, it's set up that Raban is going to be, just kill the Fremen, blah blah blah, and squeeze. But then he fails, and then Fade has to come in. But Fade and Paul have a pretty significant fight in the book.
but that could be all transferred to Raban.
It could be. It absolutely could be. But I was just wondering if they bring the character in. I think that he just didn't bring him in now because this show is already full of characters and it would have been more complicated.
Yeah,
And
that could be.
maybe he never will. But some of the people I was thinking for Fade, because Fade is younger than Raban, and the other thing that people, and again, maybe they won't get into this all, but Fade is also one of the people who was being selectively bred by the Bene Gesserit to perhaps become the Kwisatz Haderach. So he's kind of like Paul.
That's true.
He's like the anti Paul.
Yeah.
So it would have to be somebody like that. So I was thinking of like maybe Robert Pattinson,
Oh, that would be
or
interesting.
if you want to go because he could be younger than Dave Bautista, so he would have to be. So maybe go if you want to go a different way, like maybe Dev Patel would be a good choice if you're going a totally different
Ooh.
direction. Or James McAvoy, which I thought would be an interesting choice.
Or
Or John.
Joel Kinnaman.
I don't know if Joel Kinnaman will work. Actually, I think if they're going to go because they're kind of he tried to be more diverse in the casting. I mean,
That's
especially
true.
like
That's
gender
true.
flipping and flipping other characters up. So maybe I would go a different direction. So I was also thinking like Jonathan Majors, maybe something
Man,
like
Dev
that.
Patel. Now you got me sold on Dev Patel
Dev
because
Patel, I
he's
think, would be a great choice. I don't think he's ever played like a total bad guy before, so that might be interesting. And then I was also thinking about the guy who's playing Morpheus, Yahya Abdul Mateen II. He's also really good. I think he's the young Morpheus in the new Matrix movie. Allegedly the young Morpheus. They haven't really said 100%.
Allegedly.
But he's really good. He was really good as Black Manta in Aquaman,
Yeah.
which also fits together because it's a Warner property, right? And he's also in Aquaman with Jason Momoa, so that could fit into. But I feel like Denis Villeneuve is going to try to find characters that are not necessarily. He's going to sort of subvert expectations, I guess, if you want to call it that. So the other thing I was thinking of, the other person he's worked with like twice before, if you could put Jake Gyllenhaal in that role, because he's already done 2 movies with him.
That's true.
I'm just saying. So anyway, those are just some people I thought of. Oh, I also thought about Wyatt Russell too. I thought Wyatt Russell might be interesting.
He
Just
maybe. Yeah.
just because
maybe.
I don't know. Just because it would just be something different. I mean, he's definitely played sort of a bad guy, and Fade is kind of a hothead, maybe at least the way. Or you could just bring Sting back. I'd be okay with that too.
That would be funny. It's like we're just gonna have Sting play Fade again because nobody else.
I will kill you. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, I forgot to mention the one character I didn't write down was Aaliyah too, but that's a kid. So, I mean, that could be,
that could be
a young. Well, that'd be an up and coming young actress of some sort, but I don't know who that would be. But she's a child.
I think we talked a little bit last week about Shaddam, and I forget who I said, and I thought I said someone. I don't know, inspired, but
here's some names that I threw out. Well, and then there's my long shot pick, which will never happen. But here's like a person that's probably, in the way casting works is they make a list, right? The studio makes a list, and the casting director makes a list, and the director makes a list, and then sometimes their lists get together. So I would imagine that this person is on at least the studio list, and maybe the casting director. Sure. Gary Oldman as the Emperor. No, doesn't do it for you.
No.
How about Anthony?
I don't know.
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony, he's already played. Odin,
I'm just saying, it's on everybody's list, man.
I know. Everyone's looking at who's played a main god father figure character in the last 5 years. So
Christoph Waltz.
Ooh.
And then if you're going to go a little differently, although he usually plays bad guys most of the time, I really like Giancarlo Esposito, but I don't know if he has the gravitas to play the Emperor necessarily. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. He's a very interesting actor, and I think he oddly enough, I think he really got to show a decent range in Mandalorian at times.
I don't think he's had his break yet. Like that.
No,
I mean, he could be.
Hasn't.
I mean, as if you think
this could be it though.
It could be. I don't know. I don't know if it'll happen, but it's going to have to be somebody like it's going to have to be somebody older for one thing, and it's going to have to be somebody who can carry like the idea that this person is like a big powerful dude, and I don't know. It just has to be somebody who has the gravitas with them. So,
like someone like say a Benicio del Toro.
Well, I thought about that, but I don't think he's old enough because the Emperor's got to be pretty old. I would imagine.
Yeah, they can make him look that. I mean,
well, Benicio del Toro, that's possible.
He's he's got to be in his 60s though, right? So
Benicio del Toro? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right, maybe. But yeah, he wasn't Sicario. That's true.
Yeah.
But then my long and some of the people on my list, Ken Watanabe, if we're going to go slightly different.
Nice.
And Hiroki Sanada, which I thought was I like him a lot too.
He's really good in everything he does too.
He is, yeah. And then of course the other name that's probably on people's list sometimes, but I don't know if he would if it would work would be Ben Kingsley, but maybe he's too on the nose. I don't know. And then if I'm going for sort of a little bit different, Willem Dafoe maybe. And Jeremy Irons is also on my list. And then my long shot would be Daniel Day-Lewis.
Well, no, I think Daniel Day-Lewis is playing the worm, the main worm in the sequels. He's already been preparing for it.
Well, he's in the movie already. He plays the main worm. Yeah.
Well, that's why we haven't seen or heard from Daniel Day-Lewis in several years, because he's been getting into the role of playing a worm that's hidden.
He plays Shai Hulud.
Yes. So I think you're on the nose there. I think we've got that figured out.
Yeah, I don't know. The Emperor's hard. It's like I was trying to research, actors over 60 that because I feel like the Emperor is an older guy. Although maybe that's just because of Jose Ferrer in the first movie in David Lynch's Dune.
Who, let's be honest, he was pretty fantastic.
He was pretty good, yeah.
So
I would say I mean, I don't know. Christoph Waltz would be cool. But I feel like he'd probably go a different way because like the judge of the change and the herald of the change were both African American. So maybe he would go
Yeah.
African American for the emperor, maybe, or another person of
Ooh,
color.
Keith David. He would be
Yeah,
interesting because he's got a hell of a voice.
he does, but I don't know that. I mean, if you're going to get Keith David, why not James Earl Jones? Because
Yeah, but
I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a really tough one. I don't know who it's probably going to be an amazing actor that I can't even think of. But I'm just thinking of more mainstream types.
Harrison Ford as
Harrison Ford, yeah.
Emperor Shaddam the Fourth.
There you go. Hey, it could work. It could work.
Yeah.
Sure. No, Harrison Ford's gonna be like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" No.
Harrison Ford's going to play Fade.
He will play Fade Rod. He can play Indiana Jones, man. He can play anything. So
Yep. Yep.
I don't know. That's just some for some quick googling, and also based on. I mean, there's other characters or other actors that he's worked with before in his movies, but he's not the kind of person who hires the same people all the time because otherwise he'd probably work with Hugh Jackman again, and I don't think Hugh Jackman should be the Emperor.
No, I don't think so.
But he
Oh,
did
what
work with
about
Jake. Oh, sorry, what?
what about Evan Peters as Fade?
Yeah, I thought about Evan Peters. Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of like sort of interchangeable young actors, but I don't know. My point is, I don't know because the Baron is a white dude, Stellan Skarsgård, and Raban is a
Yeah.
white dude. So maybe he's got maybe his wife is a different. I don't know. I mean, who knows who Fade's mom is?
Right.
Necessarily, I don't imagine that the Baron is monogamous.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he probably has a harem of ladies,
Yes.
or whatever, or boys, whatever. But if the Benny Gesserit have anything to do with it, he could be like an exotic looking. It could be a lot of things. I mean, the other actor I thought of was Cody Smith McPhee. I thought he was pretty good too in a couple of things.
Yeah.
I was just trying to think of young up and coming actors. Or sort of semi-established. Like McAvoy can do anything. I think he's a really great actor, and I think he could play Fade really well. And he certainly, has the physicality for it.
True.
But Arpat, maybe, I don't know, man. I don't know. He might be pretty good too.
I would. That would be okay to have him in a movie like this. I think because he's a really good actor.
Well, he's also in the Warner stable because
Yeah.
because he's the Batman. So would
Because
they
I
want?
am vengeance. Oh,
Because he's vengeance, and he hates everything good.
Yeah.
That's a thought. And then of course the princess. There's a lot of hot young things. I hate to use that term, but out there. But of course the first person I thought of was Florence Pugh, which I think of for everything. But her and Timothy Chalamet were already in a movie together, so that makes sense.
Well, that's true. I like
or Anya Taylor-Joy. I like her as well a lot.
Well, I would like, and we talked about her a little bit ago, Brianna Hildebrand, who played Negasonic Teenage Warhead in Deadpool, and was also in the final season of Lucifer, where she really got to show some really excellent range. So I think she would probably be good as a princess.
Yeah, I think you're right. I also like Anna de Armas. She's kind of
or if we're staying in Deadpool, Zazie Beetz.
Yeah. I was thinking of people that are so hot right now.
Oh, I see. I got you.
But because Chalamet he's blowing up, right? Because that's the kind of person you want in your movie. Rebecca Ferguson is very well established. Oscar Isaac, was in Star Wars, so he's very well established. So it's a mixture of people. But the studio has some input, I'm sure. But I think they'd want some people, which is why maybe Robert Pattinson would be good, and Florence Pugh would be good. But I don't know if she's going to play like a princess role necessarily. She's probably too small. But Anya Taylor-Joy, I think, would be great. She's like that exotic kind of weird looking, not weird looking, but you know what I'm saying. I don't want to use the words traditionally beautiful, but she's non-traditional in a way, and I think that's a cool thing.
Yeah, I could see them going in that direction too, because I mean they got Zendaya against Chalamet.
Right.
So
maybe they wouldn't. So that would lead me. Maybe they wouldn't go for a person of color as the princess.
Right.
So maybe they would go with like Margaret Qualley. I think is good.
Yeah.
I always get this person's name wrong, like Saoirse Ronan. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It's
Saoirse Ronan. Anyway.
Yeah.
She's great. But I also thought of Millie Bobby Brown too.
Oh,
If you're going a really sort of interesting direction, but and then my new favorite, who I've seen in a couple of things, Sydney Sweeney. I don't know if she was in the White Lotus show on HBO.
I have not watched that. So
Anyway, the show wasn't fantastic, but she was really good in it, and she's young, up and coming actress, so I thought she'd be pretty good. But
you've obviously put a great deal more thought into this than I have. But
I did. Well, I did. It's just it's interesting to me because this is something that this one of the things I used to do is like, who are we going to get for this movie? And
right.
you know, so I'm used to this process, and there's people that I can picture in the roles, but I'm also thinking of it as who would be best for the part, but also
Yes.
who would be best for the marketing of the movie.
Well,
So,
yeah, to bring attention to the movie. I mean,
not that it really needs attention, but
No.
and maybe you wouldn't use Florence Pugh. I don't know. Maybe her and Chalamet together would not be a great combo anymore. But I think it would have to be someone who's like almost the polar opposite of Chani, which she is in the book too.
That's true.
So then whoever you get for the emperor, that has to sort of match in some ways who the princess is. And you know what? There's no guarantee they're going to have these characters at all either. I mean, they might not have any of them. Maybe you'll never see the emperor. Maybe you'll never see anybody like this. Who knows? But I kind of feel like you will. So.
Well, and maybe she's kind of precluded from being in this because she's in a series about Lou LaBelle.
Yeah. But again, I think if you're going to do it though, you're going to make it's somebody who's sort of like different than Chani.
Yeah, that's probably true. Okay.
So maybe I don't know. Maybe they'd go more like Japanese or more Asian.
Paul has a type. Come on.
Well, maybe he does. Maybe he does. I don't know. Right. Well, it's not like he loves the princess. Spoilers.
Well, yes.
It's a marriage of convenience, like many marriages in the feudal times. I would think that the emperor could be of Asian descent, and his daughter could be of Asian descent too. Like that's why I like Ken Watanabe. I think he'd be great. Or Hiroki Sanada. I think they'd both be awesome.
Yeah.
They both have that sort of look and this sort of... But I don't think Hiroki Sanada is a big enough name. And they're probably neither one of them are a big enough name. But I don't know. Maybe you don't need a giant name for this role. Maybe
I think you do for Emperor, though. That seems to be kind of like...
Maybe.
For, like, in was it Robin Hood with King Richard or whatever at the end where they had Connery cameo? It's like you want... someone.
Well, Connery's still alive, right? So,
well, he's not. But
oh shit, you're right. Damn
it. Because that would have been great. But no,
he's just not available. Okay,
he's not. It's not. Yes, he's the ultimate not available anymore.
He's just not available. Exactly.
Yeah, he's just. We appreciate your interest, but Mr. Connery is not available right now.
Well, that was it. That was that joke from that movie, Swimming with Sharks. They're trying to get David Lean to be a director. It's like just not available.
Yeah.
Can I make Swimming with Sharks jokes even though it has Kevin Spacey in it? Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you can.
It's still a great. You know what? It's still a great movie if you've never seen Swimming with Sharks. If you want to know anything about Hollywood and how it works, people think it's exaggerated, but it's not. It's actually toned down.
Not really. Yeah.
No, it's actually tamed. It's been watered down. Hopefully that's changing. We'll see. Anyway, I gave it some thought. So those are some of the people I was thinking of. So
obviously, I do like people are like, oh, we got to wait 2 years to see the sequel, and I'm like, well, yeah, there's a 2-year break in the story, so that kind of fits, right? That makes sense.
Right. Paul goes into the desert. Oh, the other person I thought of was the girl who was in Hyeon Young, who was in oh my god, dude, I've forgotten the name of the show. It's the big deal show on Netflix. What's it called? Squid Game. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
She plays the girl who the character she left North Korea to defect to South Korea, and then she gets into the Squid Game. But she's awesome in the movie. She's like the breakout, I think, of the show.
I have a name. Here's my pick for the princess.
Sure. Who?
Especially if we get a Ken Watanabe for Emperor, the princess should be Aquafina.
Wow, that's interesting. That's really interesting. I wonder if could she do straight drama?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe. That's an interesting idea. I like it. See,
and
now you're thinking out of the box, my friend.
See, well, I'm thinking marketing because she's getting a lot of notice right now with her show and being in Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the other thing. That's the other thing to think about, though. The casting that's happening now is for a movie that's going to come out in 2 years.
That's true.
So it's like, that's why I'm saying, well, Squid Game is popular right now, but no one's going to remember it in 2 years probably.
Right.
But a lot of these other actors that we're talking about, I mean, people will remember Aquafina, and she'll probably do some other great stuff, I would
Sure.
imagine. And I mean, Florence Pugh is going to be around, and Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be around, and Anna Darmas is going to be around, because she's in the
Well,
James Bond movie too.
it'll probably be another 2 years before Stranger Things season 4 comes out, so it'll be good timing for Millie Bobby Brown.
There you go.
So,
Yeah, exactly. No, it comes out next year.
I know.
Come on. Come on. And is there a part for Idris Elba? Could Idris Elba play the Emperor? Maybe.
Oh, there you go.
We're canceling the Atreides. And sorry, I got nothing.
Yes, exactly. That was actually really good.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
No,
Yeah,
no.
it's not my best, but it wasn't bad.
I do like that now Villanueva. I know I'm mispronouncing his name, and I apologize,
We
Denny.
really need to fucking figure out how to pronounce it.
We do, but I like that he has
Denny
resumed.
Villeneuve.
Because there was a couple times in when this was being made, he's like, I'd really like to make 3 movies, do the first book and 2 movies, and then do the second book as a third. And he started that conversation pretty heavily again now that part 2's been greenlit. So I expect we'll see 3 movies total out of this. So
That's a lot of commitment, but you're probably right.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
we
you're right. I think you're
I,
right.
I bet they made a big deal of saying that the cast was not, the agreements with the cast were just for one movie, so they're going to have to redo all the agreements for everyone that survives. But I would be surprised if they didn't have language in the new contracts that are for more than one movie, possibly some kind of limited streaming series. Or
Yeah,
something.
I can't believe that if I'm in the legal affairs department of Warner Brothers, I can't believe I'm going to say, oh, well, let's just get these people locked in for one film. It's never going to have, there's got to
Yeah.
be language if we do a sequel, because it fucking says part 1 on the thing,
Right.
It
right.
probably said part 1 on the script too. So
Yeah, I'm pretty
I
sure
would-
they knew
it's-
they were going to make more
yeah,
than one.
even, you know what? Even if they don't know for sure, business
Yeah.
affairs people are nothing if not pragmatic. So like, well, we're going to lock these fuckers in for 5 movies if we can.
Right. Yeah. Even if we don't
even-
make them, that's fine.
Even you, Jason Momoa, we're going to lock you in for action figures and
Well,
whatever the fuck
he
we
can be in the third one, so
spoilers.
I'm just saying. Yeah, spoilers, but
Can he? I don't know, but he could.
could he though? Yeah, he can.
Maybe. Yeah. So now people have to read the other books. People have to read. No one wants to read, Joe.
I know. I'm
You know what?
sorry,
I actually have
people
to admit something, and this already happened one other time. We were talking about Dune. I keep fucking up the date, the time in the movie, because you asked me about this again, and I fucked it up last week, so I have to fix it again.
Gotcha.
It's 10,191, but that's 10,191 AG, which is after the guild was established. The guild was established at 0, basically. So that's the
Right.
spacing guild.
Right.
So about 10,000, 8,000 years before that was like the Butlerian Jihad and all that stuff. So really, it's like 21,000 years in the future for us.
Right. That's
okay.
that's what I was reading. That's why I was saying
Okay.
something like 20. I wasn't
Yeah.
just being flippant because I'm like, because the war against the AI and the robots happened like 10,000 years after
Right.
our present day, and then it's 10,000 years or maybe 12,000
after
years
the
after
guild.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's about 21,000 years in our future. Although Earth doesn't exist, right? That's long gone, right?
It does exist. It was at least according to the Dune Encyclopedia, it was turned into a park basically because it got destroyed by a comet, I believe, and so humans left Earth and colonized space, and then but they had to do it the slow way because no one had invented warping space because spice hadn't been found yet. But so yeah, the Earth is around, but it's basically an ecological preserve at this point. So
See, now I'm noticing, and I'm sure obviously they existed before this, but I just had forgotten a lot about Dune. But there are a lot of parallels in what we're also going to talk about, Foundation, with Dune. I mean, it too is also several thousand years in our future, after Earth is long gone and abandoned, and they talk about folding space, and there was a war against robots and AI. in their past. So there's a interesting. I don't know if this
Yeah.
in the source material Foundation there were those exact parallels. I don't think the Robot Wars were built into Foundation in the first books. That apparently was done later when Asimov decided to tie in Foundation to all of his other stuff. But
I can't remember in the original Foundation book if because I know that there's they do talk about how the robots were destroyed though because I'm pretty sure I don't know
okay.
it's been so long since I read it I don't know but yeah, do you want to talk about Foundation the show? Because
Yeah, yeah.
I'm totally down with that. I'm first of all still loving the show. Still think it's awesome. I still think that they could. I would watch a show about Empire, and I don't necessarily need to see the rest of it. I mean, the stuff on the planet is fine and everything, and all this sort of space opera stuff, which I enjoy also, is cool. But I kind of like just Lee Pace going around talking shit to people, which I think is a fun show. I would watch that because he's really good at it.
Yeah, he's very good at it.
The dripping sarcasm. Well, if you think the Empire's not cool, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, fine, I'll go do your little walk, whatever.
Go do your little walk, yeah, whatever. So this is spoilers, of course, for Foundation if you're not watching it. But I was very happy also, and as we talked about before, I was happy to see that Jared Harris is not going to be not missing from the show.
He didn't get Sam Neill.
He didn't get Sam Neill, or well, at least Sean Bean lasted the entire season of Game of
Right.
Thrones.
So see, that's not the trope.
But that's the joke, though, that Sean Bean, of course, dies in everything.
Right, which he doesn't because he's still alive on Snowpiercer. Well, Snowpiercer was fun because he's playing a character that everyone thought was dead, and he's like, oh, he's alive. So he kind of reversed it. So
yes, yeah, he did. He backed it up and flipped it and reversed it. Oh, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, but yes, Jared Harris comes back, and we get a lot more explanation of what's happening. So we haven't talked about Foundation since the last 2 episodes.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
So the one before that is where Empire goes to the religious planet, where as he predicted, as Harry predicted, there'd be an uprising in a religious sect that would destabilize the Empire, and he goes there and he gets he gets into an argument with one of the acolytes or whatever, who makes a lot of good points and is actually correct.
Yes.
About what's happening because, as we know, the new clone of Empire, the younger one, Dawn, is not doing so well, right?
That's kind of fun. That storyline, that character is proving her point. It's like, oh wow, and Lee Pace has no. Well, I think that he and Brother Dusk sort of suspect. Definitely, Brother Dusk suspects Dawn. So that's the only part I don't like. I do like that storyline, but the part about it I don't like is this dread that his gardener girlfriend is going to meet a really horrible end, and that's going to end badly because there's that guard that has the invisible screen that keeps lurking around. He's going to either end her or something. Some tragic accident's going to happen. I have a feeling.
Oh, sure, because that's how they're gonna keep him in line. You have to you have to follow the protocol. You have to be like us. You have to do the same thing we do, et cetera, et cetera. So they're gonna have to totally kill her. That's probably in the finale. She'll be dead,
right?
And that'll be to get him. The idea will be to get him in line, but it'll backfire probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
and be like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna
or he takes off because they made a point of showing, hey, I can be replaced at any moment with something that's more in line. So her death is going to galvanize him to take off and run away, or they run off together, which would be a little bit nicer. But this show doesn't really have good endings for a lot of people.
Well, they'll run off together, and then she'll be killed.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Like at the point where he's getting the nano machines removed from his body, they'll bust in and kill her. I don't know, or he'll get captured, and then he'll have to watch her killed, and then he'll be killed, and then they'll replace him.
Right, or he'll have to show us her in line, and he'll have to order her to be killed, or something.
Right, or he'll have to kill her himself.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, it's been set up because the robot's been setting him up to be more compassionate and everything from the beginning. I mean, even that in that earlier episodes where she's like, he says, "This is always this way." She's like, "This is how you normally choose things, but you don't have to." Right. And I like the fact that they're kind of making a rift between her and Empire now too, a little bit because of her religion, which I thought was an interesting way to go about it. What is stronger? Is her loyalty to him stronger, or is her conviction about religion stronger, or is her idea of the larger goal of basically destroying humanity? which I
Well,
still think is her ultimate motivation. But I don't know.
yeah, but I thought that was a great, whether it's true or not, because I don't know how much she is capable of lying, but where she said, listen, if me kneeling for this went against me serving you, then I wouldn't have been able to do it. My programming wouldn't even have allowed me to kneel. So obviously, what I did is in your greater good, and that kind of throws him off because he's like, wait a second. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So that really makes me want to dig into her character, because is she secretly plotting against them? Is she capable of doing that? And if she is, man, she's doing a really good job at it. And I think she is. And I think that's the point. And I think that's kind of what that scene was made for, is like, yeah, she can go against her programming. Um,
Well, either that, or she firmly believes that destroying the empire is in the best interest of the empire.
oh, right. Exactly.
So
Yes.
it's like
So,
this has to go down. So what I'm doing is in service to you, but the best thing for you, and by you I mean the younger version of you, the one that I care about more.
right.
Although I get, yeah. So it may be that it's not violating her programming. It's it's like the dilemma of that Hal had in 2001, right? It's like I have to kill these people to save the mission, kind of thing. So it's like I'm not violating my programming. I'm doing the greater good for the empire, but you are the empire. They make a whole case about that too. So it's like I'm doing this for the empire, but it may end up causing your death, but
Well,
that's still what's best for everything. So
and I think she's obviously doing this with all the Brother Dons, but just to clarify, the Lee Pace version that she's on that planet with is the one in previous episodes that was like the kid and was hanging out with her while she was repairing herself and stuff. But I think she does that to all of the young ones.
are you sure? Because I think it's
Yeah,
the teenager guy.
nope. Because they even have a dialogue when they're on the ship in transit where he talks about having hanging out with her as a kid and all that kind of stuff.
Well, they all
So
hung out with her as a kid. I thought
yeah,
that
but that was the one that we saw
no, the
earlier.
guy who maybe you're right. I thought
Yeah.
that okay. Oh, because the baby is the one. That's
Yes.
right. The
The
baby gets
one that
born.
Yeah, the one that
Uh,
Dusk, when he was going to his death,
oh,
said
that's right.
something's
That's right.
wrong. Something's
That's right.
wrong.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, you're right. So it does.
It's a little confusing, but that's how
Well,
it
it
is.
is. It is a little confusing.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering then if he has some differences where I mean he hasn't just destroyed the entire church. Like he could just bomb it from orbit, I suppose. So maybe him trying to the fact that he's even willing to compromise at all.
Right.
I mean, it's
Shows
an
a difference.
evolutionary process, right? It's like
Right.
she's also manipulating bloodlines. She's kind of like the Benny Gesserit in a way too. So
Absolutely.
maybe
Yeah.
she's just it's like I'm trying to manipulate this thing into the way I want it to be, and this is how I've been starting. So he's different. He's gonna walk. I wonder if he'll survive the. I wonder if he'll survive
I
the
know.
walk
I'm kind of
enactment.
curious. Well, I mean, he's got like tech on his side because he has that shield, and he's got
He's pretty
uh,
fit.
yeah, he's pretty fit, and I'm sure his whatever extra any suits and stuff he has probably maintain uh, you know
Well, he's got those nanobots, and he's got
yeah, yeah.
that,
So
that
I
that
think
heal
he'll be
him.
fine. Yeah, and
That's
I don't think that's general knowledge. So when he comes out of that, just fit and fine and be like, oh, I spoke to the three women and they told
mm-hmm.
me you can go f yourself and stuff like that. So
Then he'll stab her in the chest with a knife because
yeah,
that's what people do.
absolutely. They told me to do that. So
Yeah, they said you're a problem. You're a heretic. You got to go.
yeah.
You got to burn, baby.
So yeah, I think he's gonna be totally fine. He's not gonna
Yeah.
learn the lesson that she thinks he'll learn by doing it, and he'll be
Well,
able to
no,
use it to his own advantage.
but it was his idea, which I thought was interesting because
Yeah.
she didn't say anything about it, and it was his idea. So he's trying to teach the rubes a lesson, so
Yes.
that you don't mess with the empire.
But
But
yeah, I do feel like the show is still at this point like three separate yet connected shows, and it's a
yeah,
lot. I mean, there's a lot going on now that we're got the three timelines, although they're all in the quote unquote present day, but the three storylines established. It's a lot in each episode, and I finally feel like we're now getting to the point of telling the story that we want to tell, as opposed to all being set up. I feel like definitely the first two episodes, but even past that, maybe episode 3 or 4, we're kind of still set up. And now we're kind of getting everyone to where we want them to be to move the story forward, which is not a bad thing. I think it's great that we spent time establishing these characters and getting to know them and kind of their motivations.
Will they
So
succeed in fixing the jump ship? I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like they're going to get lost and just start jumping away, just like in,
Yeah,
oddly enough, just like in Battlestar Galactica. But so
and
maybe
then
that's how that. Yeah.
Gail's whole thing of like, I can feel the future, was kind of it. Yeah, Selden is becoming more and more of a real bastard. It's just like, man, you
Well,
just
he's doing
really
what he.
manipulated some shit.
Well, he feels he's doing what he needs to do. You know, I mean, he's
But
the same. He's the same as the robot. So
but I do like, because some of the complaints and some of the things people were saying were like, wow, he really manipulated and used Gail. But I like how he kind of, and she brings that up, but I like how he turned that on against her. He's like, you could have solved this and remain anonymous and stayed
yeah,
on your planet and not caused
you sought
anything
the
to happen.
spotlight. Yeah.
Yep, but you chose to submit your name
Yeah.
and be more than what you are. And so it's like, that was a very interesting conversation. I thought it was like, yeah, I did manipulate it, but you let me, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, it didn't. And the funny thing is, it shows that he's also not infallible because
Yes,
his plan didn't work. I mean, Raish is
yeah,
dead, and she's there instead of him,
and
and
she's not
so
on the planet on Terminus where she was
right
supposed to
where
be.
she's supposed
Yeah,
to be. Although, if she'd been there, what would have happened? Maybe she'd be dead. So
yeah.
it's hard to know. But or she'd be on the jump ship, jumping around, or
Well, he
whatever.
was like, you needed to be there for what they're about to face, and which is obviously what we're seeing. But
But she's not the only character that has visions. Like, what's her face on the planet? The warden also had visions too.
and some now this is going to be, this is kind of interesting because she had some of the same visions and from the point of view of Gale, which was interesting. So
Yeah, are they the same person? I don't know.
I don't think they're, well, I don't know, maybe they're clones, I don't know, but
They don't really look. They don't look a lot alike. So
no, but it's, I will say, yeah, it's a very compelling show, and I'm still, it's one of those shows where I'm like, oh, when's the next episode? I'm ready for it. So,
yeah, exactly. I'm just. It's just interesting to see what happens. I don't find it. I don't find it boring. And I like the fact that they're kind of balancing out the sort of esoteric parts with action too. It's like now we got fights too. We got this guy
yes,
falling into a vat of liquid nitrogen or whatever, and freezing. And although
and
I
the
feel
boy,
like those would be covered up by like grates or something, but whatever, it's fine.
you would think, but maybe they, that ship's been around a while. Maybe the
They're
grates
like
fell
they're
off. I
like
don't
the the Empire in Star Wars. They don't believe in railings. You know,
know. Yeah, exactly. The people in
put up a
there
fuck,
will know what they're doing. It'll be
put up
fine.
a fucking railings. People won't fall in. What's wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Although I do like the whole boyfriend. I can't clamp on. I'm gonna miss. And it's like, well, he's obviously plotting something. He's not dead. So
Or he's just dead.
no, I don't think so. He's the
It's
one
like
that's gonna signal
our
the Empire or whatever.
our budget for this show is we have
Yeah.
to cut some characters. And
Yeah,
so we gotta.
we're getting to that point in the season where we gotta let loose
But
some
have you?
characters. So
But have you noticed they killed a lot of people and left Trent and left Terminus, and now they're in a ship with fewer casts? I'm just saying.
right. Well, I don't think the boyfriend's dead because typically, yes, they do kill characters on the show, but we get to see them die. And we didn't. He just floated off, but into
I guess
the
you're right.
debris. So I think and also he's smart enough. I'm like, there's no way he wasn't able to do that when everybody else
Yeah.
could. So
No, I know he's very space friendly, so you would
yeah,
think that.
so
No, I agree with you. I agree he's going to come back, but it's just I don't know. It was weird to me that this relationship sort of like sprung out of nowhere almost between them, and I didn't feel like it was developed very well. It was like, oh, she needs a love interest. Boom, here he is, space
well,
pirate guy.
yeah, we came
So,
in after the fact. We didn't get to see the genesis of it. And
well,
it
no,
was
I
just
know,
there.
and that's why I'm saying it was sort of it felt kind of abrupt for me. It felt like
Oh,
it was more of a here's something we need in this story. We need a love interest because of this, so let's put one in. It didn't seem to evolve where a lot of the other stuff seems to be more thought out, and I'm sure it was thought out. It's just like you
yeah,
said, we didn't see
yeah.
we didn't see the genesis of their relationship. But I just like with her and with Galen Raish, that actually made more sense. I mean, I don't know why she'd be interested in him because he was a fucking idiot, but
That seemed kind of jarring to me too, though. I mean, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're
yeah,
gonna
but it
go
was
do
more.
this thing," and then suddenly they're on the ship and they're making out. I'm like,
At
"What?"
least it seemed more developed. I guess it seemed
Yeah,
to more because we spent more time with them, with Gail especially, and with him, they kind
yeah,
of
I
got
guess
to
so.
know each other.
Yeah,
Whereas we go to Terminus, we meet this character, and she's got a dude, and they're fucking, and now he's the love of her life kind of thing. So
I guess in a show where we spent a lot of time establishing things and setting things up, that seemed an
maybe
odd.
that's what it is. Yeah, maybe it just seemed more abrupt
Yeah,
to me because if they're really going to do 8 seasons, just let it germinate a bit. But whatever.
yeah. They could have still had them doing what they were doing on the show, but not yet have been a couple, right? It
Yeah,
could have been this experience that brought them together.
brought them together, right? That the adversity of this is what. Yeah, they realize they care about each other during all this.
Yeah.
So I guess you can make the case though. Would he be willing to do all of this stuff? And I'm sure that was part of the conversation. Would this character, who's obviously sort of a mercenary, would he be willing to do anything if he didn't love her? Right? He's doing it for her, not because of any loyalty to Terminus or to the Foundation. He's doing it because of her. So
Well, that could be the start of it. It's like, because they established that he visits here and there and bringing supplies and smuggling things in, and it could have been when this all went down that it could have been like, you should leave, and he's like, oh, being his flippant self, and then that could have been the discussion later. It's like, why did you stick around?
right.
You know,
Like Han
so
Solo and Princess Leia.
yeah, exactly.
You like him because he's a scoundrel. I'm just
Right. So yeah, that probably could have been reworked differently.
And that's just
I'm still
nitpicky
okay.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm still okay with the way it is because
I don't have to have everything spoon fed.
Yeah,
I just like if things are going to be character related, I like the character related stuff to actually seem to make sense. But but she's lost everybody, right? I mean, her mom's a prisoner, her dad's dead, which is unfortunate because I like Clark Peters, but
I know I was really disappointed by that. I'm like, damn.
But you know what? The show's expensive. Jared Harris is coming back, so they got to
That's
eliminate some
true.
characters.
So
before
Clark
Jared
Peters
Harris
has got to go. Yeah,
he's got to go, and we got to get to a ship with the newer characters who don't cost as much, and then Jared Harris has got to come back on the show.
And hey, important lesson there. If you're ever on a ship where the intelligence of a person is taking over control of the ship, don't let them be really upset about something, because he almost killed Gale when he discovered that Raish was dead. So don't let him have a fit.
The computer is like, please turn the life support back on.
Yeah, exactly. I know you're upset, and I know this is bad, but let's talk about it.
Please authorize life support or whatever.
Yeah,
and she's like, I can't. I don't have authorization for that. So
well,
maybe
even the computer is like, maybe you shouldn't be doing this.
What would be better for you as a person would be to have oxygen and etc.
Yes.
And heat. But it's like that would be the first thing I would tell when he comes back. It's like, can I control the ship too, please? Because this is stupid.
Can you give me authorization to do stuff? Now, let me tell you, your son is dead. So,
well, I don't know. I get the feeling there's more to it. I don't know if it's just his son. I kind of feel like they had a relationship, a stronger relationship. Maybe. I don't know.
No, I think it was a father-son thing.
You think so? Maybe you're right. I don't know.
I still, even though we saw him get spaced, I just get this feeling that Raish isn't dead. But maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I don't know. Harry seemed very shocked by it because that was definitely not in his plan. So.
But Alfred Enoch, I mean, it seemed like it wasn't like it was a Robert Pattinson or a really well-known actor, but it wasn't a nobody cast in that role. So I don't know.
Are you saying everyone who goes in space survives? Because he didn't have a suit or anything. So I'm pretty sure you can't survive in space without a suit.
Yeah, I know. So he's probably gone. I just find it weird that you cast a decently known actor and not an unknown for a throwaway role like that. So
well, it wasn't throwaway. I mean,
I guess it wasn't.
It was a pivotal role that had a lot to do with the main character of the show, basically, and then sort of helped her propel her on her journey, and then
So what do you think is at the location where they're really going? I mean, I have an idea based on the story, but the ship is very pointedly going to a location that's like near a black hole.
Where they're going? You mean the ship that Gale and Harry are on?
Yes.
Well, I thought they were going to his home planet.
Right, and why do you think they're doing that?
Don't know.
Okay.
I can't remember why, if that's even in the book. So why?
I don't think it's the same way in the books, but I have an idea what is.
What is your idea then? Tell everyone.
Well, there's a
tell the class.
The second foundation. So Harry made spoilers for the books, but he secretly made a second foundation because he was basically hedging his bets and wasn't sure that the first foundation would completely succeed. So he made a second foundation in secret, and I think that's what this is.
Interesting. On his home world?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if in the books if it was on his home world, but
I can't remember. It's been so long. Yeah, but that seems to track from what I was thinking of.
yeah.
I that didn't occur to me when I was watching the episode, but of course, now that you say it, it makes perfect sense. But that could be. Well, I guess the question is, if cloning's so established, maybe there's another Harry. I'm going to meet my clone and transfer my consciousness into the body that's been prepared for me on this planet.
Now that I've totally poo-pooed Empire and their method of cloning, I can see where they're going with it. So I prepared a clone. I'm not going to do it for hundreds of years, just this one time.
or that's where his body is in his especially prepared casket of his own design.
Exactly. Yes,
that's where his body went. That was being healed, and now his body and his consciousness are going to join again to reform or something.
Yeah, that's likely. I have a feeling. Yeah, because his body is still out there in the casket prepared by his own designs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, why would they say that if it wasn't important? Right?
As soon as they said that, I'm like, oh well, he's not dead.
Well, that you make a good point. So his consciousness, his brain, whatever, is in the ship, and then his body is somewhere else. So they're going to put them back together, and he'll be reborn.
Yes,
as Harry Seldon the second or something.
So Jared Harris is going to be on the show for a while, thankfully. So,
well, I would imagine, yeah, he's not going to be Sam Neill, right? So. So do we want to talk about what that means? Because there's also another show on Apple besides Foundation, another sci-fi show called Invasion, made by Simon Kinberg, who, among other things, did Deadpool 2, etc. And he didn't direct it, but he was one of the writers of that.
Yes.
Producers. So I'm watching Invasion. I don't know if did you say you're watching it or no?
I'm not anymore.
Oh, you gave up. Yeah. Okay. So here's.
Yeah,
it's not a happy, uplifting show. All the characters are very depressed in the show.
Yes,
they suffer tremendous loss, and the one woman whose husband is, well, we'll just spoil a little bit. The one woman whose husband was cheating on her, she's very upset all the time.
Yes,
and the girl whose girlfriend got killed on the spaceship on the space station is very upset because her girlfriend was killed.
Yes.
And Sam Neill, I don't know if Sam Neill was the only character who wasn't mad about something.
No, he wasn't. He was actually like, he was
the only optimist in the entire show, so naturally he had to be killed too. So I don't know if he'll come back or what, but I don't know. Here's the thing: I don't mind a slow burn as long as it pays off at some point. So I'm watching it because I enjoy. I don't mind some of the character moments. Yeah, some of it's a downer for sure, but I do like sci-fi, so that's the thing.
Well,
and it's certainly the characters aren't making huge like mistakes and doing stupid shit like they were in Y: The Last Man for sure.
That's true.
So they're doing. I think what they're doing is driven by character. I mean, the woman is very incensed and angry about her husband, so she's making irrational decisions in some way. The girl whose girlfriend was blown up on the spaceship is kind of like wandering around in a daze, which makes sense. The soldier was in war, and he fought one of the ships, and and is doing his best to rescue his men, which makes sense. I mean, they're all doing things that make sense for their characters, and yeah, they're all traumatized. And it's a slow build. We got to see one of the ships. We got to see one of the aliens, kind of.
That's true.
I don't know. It's not a shoot 'em up. It's not a aliens. It's not like Starship Troopers or whatever. I wouldn't say I'm enjoying it so much. I'm interested still.
I give up on it. I guess my biggest thing was, in all of the press and all this for this show stars. All these people you don't really know, and also Sam Neill, who everyone knows. He's a main character. He's one of our main cast and stuff. And they kill him off in the first episode, and I'm like, after really making most of the first episode about his character, it's like, then you kill him off, or if he's not dead, he hasn't shown up in the next like 3 or 4 episodes, and it's like I don't know. It's like you wanted me to
He was taken prisoner by the aliens. They've been
You
anal probing him in the last 3
you
episodes.
want me to invest in this character and his story, and then you're not going to do anything with that story,
No, I agree.
and
That
then
that was
say, oh,
annoying.
here's these other characters that you really, here's the real ones you should care about, and you make their stories so depressing. I'm almost like, at this point, are they going to say, actually, this isn't a sci-fi show, it's not really aliens, it's this? And I'm like, you know.
Oh no,
So
they're
I
definitely an
know,
alien
I
in
know,
the
I
last
know,
episode for sure.
but yeah, I was just
And I
like,
think I'm pretty sure that was an alien spaceship in the episode before
yeah,
that they
it
tried.
just,
No, I agree with that. That was
I
annoying, but it didn't annoy me enough to stop watching because I feel like I like to think that they wouldn't do that. That it wasn't just a bait and switch kind of thing. I like to think that his character is going to come back, and it just hasn't yet. But I could be wrong. I mean, the way he even was talking about it on social media, it sounded like
right. That's
he's
what
in
I'm
more
saying.
he's in more than one episode. So it's like I
Right.
doubt that he's just disappeared. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he
Maybe
can.
so. Maybe I'll say this. Maybe this is a show. The more I'm thinking about it, because I kept going, well, I'll keep watching it. I think this is a show because of the story and the pace is more designed for binge watching, not watching a week at a time. I think this is for watching the whole season in a short amount of time at your own pace, because I don't there. It's not like we get to the end of the episode, I'm like, God, I got to see what happens next. It's like because the next episode is like, well, here's the next part of the story, which is still moving. I think it's better suited, and maybe I'll wait now until the whole season is aired and then watch it all. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's 10 episodes, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So some of the reviews are like it's 10 episodes of setup, which is, I
right.
guess, the best title would be Evasion, which I thought was interesting.
So maybe it is best to watch it in,
Maybe you want to
you
binge it.
know,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
maybe. I will say that I'm more interested in when Foundation comes out, but it happens to come out in the same day as Foundation, so I ended up watching them both at the same time. Not the same time, but I watch Foundation and then I watch Invasion,
You watch Foundation first, though, don't you?
of course.
Yeah.
But
So
but I would say that at least what I've read, Sam Neill does come back at some point. Because they're
okay,
talking about, I mean, people are like praising his performance in the show. It's like his performance in one episode can't be.
right.
Maybe, I mean, maybe that's all it is.
I
Because
mean, it was a good performance,
he
but
was good in that episode. I mean, I really was rooting for him, and I think that would have been an interesting thing to explore. But I just wonder
I,
if somehow, and I hope this isn't the case, but I'm wondering now if this is a situation where they're like, well, do we have a show about an old white dude, or do we have a show about these
yeah,
people of color and this diverse cast of, because the lady whose husband, she's obviously Arabic, and then there's the Asian little Japanese girl whose girlfriend got killed, and then there's the African American soldier. Who
I,
also is great, by the way. Shamir Anderson is really good in the
yes.
role. I liked him, and I liked him in that Stowaway movie. Even though that movie was stupid, I liked him.
Yeah, it was a stupid movie.
It was pretty dumb.
Well, let me put it this way then.
Yeah,
Don't give me a first episode with a character and a performance that is above the rest of your characters and performances, and then take
yeah,
that away.
right. Well, that would be unfortunate. And if that's what happens, then I will be very disappointed, and I won't
Yeah,
necessarily watch the show again. But he's also listed as the last person on the credits too.
but he's only in the credits in the first epised.
No, I mean just like on the show's credits
Oh, yeah,
online. It's like he's listed
yeah.
Sheriff John Bell Tyson. So
Well, yeah, because yeah, but I
Or
was
or even if you went back to that story and it was the deputy who tried to figure out what was going on, but we haven't gone back to them at all.
right. That's the other thing too. It's like
We've been
not
focusing on
only
the husband and wife. We've been focusing
yeah,
on the girl, which I don't have a problem with that, by the way.
and there's like no follow up to even like give us a hint that, oh yeah, he's
Yeah,
going to come back or he's totally dead. It's just like, yeah, it's like, here's an episode about this show that's going to start off the show that has nothing to do with the rest of the show. It's like, what? That is kind of annoying. So
right. Well, they have to.
they got to
They
follow
have
it
to
up
come back
somehow.
to it. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they have to. It's 10 episodes.
yeah,
Wow. Apparently, they spent $200 million on this thing. Crazy.
they did.
They have to come back. They'll circle back. So they've established they established the woman and the husband in one episode, and in the second episode, and they establish the soldier in the second episode, and they establish the kids who've now pulled out of the hole. I thought that was going to be a Lord of the Flies thing, frankly, but
Yeah, no kidding.
it kind of was a little bit. And at
Yeah.
first I was like, oh, great, a busload of kids, boring. But I was kind of interested
Yeah.
in it. Although I would have punched that kid in the face in the first 10 seconds, but that's
Oh,
just me.
totally. Yeah.
It's like he's first of all he's just a little bit taller, but that kid would seem more beefy. I think he could have taken him.
You should have just beat him down right then and
should
been
just
like,
fucking
all right.
knocked him on his ass. But
Yep.
instead, he triumphed by climbing the wall, which and then everyone else climbs the wall, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. That part of it, I could, I don't have to have that. But then, which I thought was funny, watching Invasion and watching Foundation at the same time, the same day. Here's another character with vision.
Right. Exactly.
So all characters in all shows are psychics now, apparently.
If aliens are involved, there's going to be
Right.
someone with.
Right. He drew pictures of the satellite that had fallen down or whatever.
Right,
And he
right.
said, "Do you speak Russian?" "No, I do not speak Russian." "What?" "No, I don't speak Russian."
Yeah.
So that I thought that was kind of funny watching those shows. Obviously, it's a coincidence, but it was amusing to me. It's like, here's a show where Gail holds up a thing and doesn't get shot or doesn't get hit by a piece of debris
Because she knew it was coming.
because she knew it was coming. And then here in the next show I watch, and here's a kid who who drew a picture of the satellite destroying the bus that knocked them. So it's like,
Have Kinberg and Goyer ever worked together? Maybe they have just similar minds. I don't know.
maybe they're just like the same person. I mean, who knows?
Maybe they are. Yes, they are. But yeah, I mean, I am a sucker for like different takes on War of the Worlds because there's a British version of War of the Worlds in the present day that's been airing that I've enjoyed with Gabriel Byrne in it. That's really good, and I'm a sucker for alien invasion stories. I have some concerns with this one, and I think talking about it earlier, I think maybe that all stems from the fact that maybe it isn't. It would. I think it will work better for me if I watch it in bulk as opposed to week to week. So,
Well, all I can say is there's a difference, I think, between. Let's talk about the writing for a minute, okay? So the writing of something like Foundation, I think, is more elevated. It's definitely better, and I think that Goyer is, I think, if I want to say that, has written better stuff over the years. I have nothing against Simon Kinberg, but if we take a look at some of Kinberg's credits, Sherlock
Yeah.
Holmes is pretty good, but X-Men: The Last Stand, Days of Future Past, Fantastic
That's not
Four, caramba, X-Men Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix was also his directorial debut.
well,
So I'm just
The
I'm
Martian,
just saying,
though. The Martian.
yeah, but he wasn't the only writer on the. No, he wasn't a writer on The Martian. He was a producer on The Martian.
Oh, that's true. I guess he was. So,
So he's been around really talented people. Now, is he the most talented guy in the world? I don't know. And all the thing is, a lot of these things got made, and he was a writer on. He did write Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which I enjoyed, and Sherlock Holmes, which I enjoyed. But how much was that, having to do with the other people involved? Like Sherlock Holmes, Guy Ritchie's no idiot either.
he's
so it's
better.
like,
He's definitely a better producer than a writer.
maybe, and this is his show, so it's like, maybe this is the best he can do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then something like Foundation is, Goyer has written, I suppose, better stuff.
Yeah.
So, or he's just been at it longer. I don't know. And that doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't have what it takes,
Sure.
It just means that if you look at someone's credits, you just go, oh, well, maybe that stuff isn't as good as you were thinking of. Although, again, Foundation also has the source material to draw upon based on the novels by Isaac Asimov.
Say that really
Because
loud.
you can't say that really, you can't say that really
Well,
loud.
Invasion is kind of loosely a War of the Worlds retelling, so you could rely. I don't know. Well, I guess no. Maybe that's being too.
But
stretching
then
things a bit too much. But
yeah, but then you have Goyer, who did like the Blade trilogy and Dark Knight. Those are pretty well written. Although they had Christopher Nolan and his brother and those people. So I don't know.
Well, maybe he learned a thing or two from them about storytelling.
Maybe
so.
he learned a thing or two
Yeah.
of a thing or two. But he also wrote
I don't know.
The Crow, City of Angels. So I don't know what.
Well, yeah. So I'll keep watching Invasion. Actually, you know what? I think I will at this point, because there a lot of other things I want to watch are coming up. Doctor Who and the Expanse and Star Trek Discovery. So maybe I can distract myself with those, and then once in December Invasion is done, I'll go back and rewatch the whole thing and watch it.
Well, maybe that's the best way to go.
Yeah,
Maybe you want to.
I think I'll do that because I don't want to. I don't want to be one of those people that each week is like, God, I can't believe this is still on and stuff like that. So I will step away and then watch the whole season. So
I'm still gonna watch it. I'll still keep up with it only because I feel like I just like to see how things go, and I'm already impatient. So having to wait to for something that I don't know how it's going to pay off, I'm going to be even more angry if I wait. If that makes sense. So let me just do it and get it done. Although I couldn't muster the enthusiasm to finish up Y. Although maybe I'll wait until that's
it's got one more episode to go, and I just
done.
can't get caught up on it. And
yeah, I feel bad. I still feel bad that's because I wanted that to succeed so badly, and it did not. So.
And I again, I'm confident that everybody making it wanted it to succeed and do well as well.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Yeah. They're just doing it for the paycheck, man.
Yeah, I'm just for whatever reason, it didn't gel and turn out all that good. So
it's because all the woke culture, man.
No,
that's the problem with Invasion. It's too woke, bro.
It's too woke. Yes, that's it.
And the problem with Y: The Last Man is it's too woke.
If Invasion was just about a group of rednecks from a trailer park, it would have worked much better.
Dude, it's like Attack the Block only in a trailer park. I'm just saying, that writes itself. Right?
Dude, I would totally watch that. They're doing Attack the Block 2, which I'm going to be there for.
Okay, why hasn't this movie been made already? Because it's basically an alien invasion in a trailer park and like a white trash.
Right.
Well, it's like Tremors, but it's aliens basically, right?
Yeah, that would be, and you could even have Kevin Bacon in it. That would be perfect.
You could have Kevin Bacon in it as the guy who lives in the, wow.
You could do Kevin Bacon and Alan Tudyk, and you can make it a semi-comedy, and it would be the best movie ever.
Dude, I would totally watch that.
I would totally watch it.
With Tudyk, especially.
Yes.
But he's the straight man, right? Kevin Bacon is the funny one.
Absolutely, yes.
You got to cast him against type. But then here we are casting a movie with two white dudes, John. What's wrong with you?
Well, if it's going to be in a trailer park, it's got to be two white guys. Come on.
Why can't people of color live in a trailer park? I'm just saying.
Because they're smarter. Oh, wait.
Well,
say that out loud?
That could be true. Well, then they live in the beautiful housing complex next door, right?
That's right. Yes.
The high-rise building, and the trailer park is going to get demolished to make way for more high-class condos.
Yes.
And so there's already animosity between the two groups, and then aliens attack.
But the people...
they have to work together to fight the aliens.
But they then smartly sacrifice the rednecks because it's like, Anyway.
Yes, but the rednecks have something that the rich people don't have. They have pickup trucks. I'm just saying.
That's and they have generators
and more guns.
Yes, exactly. And beer.
And beer. I mean, yeah. If you're in a survival scenario, you want generators and beer and guns. They all go together perfectly.
We need to totally write this script and say, hey, listen.
It's actually a pretty funny idea. So
yeah, I would watch that movie. So
yeah, I think the idea. I mean, it has to be something. There has to be something more to it than just.
Yeah.
There has to be like some kind of social context. I hate to say it that way, but there has to be more to it. So there has to be a metaphor of, people getting along and race relations and, immigration. It's got to be something. I don't know. It's got to be a larger context, but we can come up with that. It's not.
Yeah, we can, that's.
Anyway.
After we do the first draft, we can start baking that stuff in.
I'm just trying to think of a title, though. The title's important to me. But anyway, I'll think about it. Yeah. And you think about it, too. Okay, cool.
Trash the park. Yeah.
It's something like that, though. It's got to have park in it.
Yeah, instead of attack the block, trash the park,
protect
or
the park, or defend the park, or.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to work in trailer trash with it and stuff like that.
Yeah. See, that's it. But we got to have Idris Elba in here somewhere.
He's the doorman at the big palatial place they're trying.
But the question is, do we have to make it like either dead serious? But it's still funny because of what's happening, or it's got to be sort of more broad, like a James Gunn movie, which is also serious but not as serious. It's over the top. So I don't know. Maybe it's more of a James Gunn situation.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
because like Tremors, they were serious about that. It's like the shit was happening, but they were dead serious about what was happening.
Because Attack the Block is pretty.
Well, they're very serious about it. Yeah.
So, but you got to make it a little different than that, but maybe that's the obvious way to go is make it overtly comedy. Maybe you do have everyone
John
take
Boyega
it
to be in it.
Yeah, there you go. He makes a cameo. He's visiting his aunt in the U.S., and that's how
who
he
lives
gets.
who lives in the new high rise
Yeah,
apartments next
so
door.
he can make all the comments of like, not this shit again, and stuff like that. He'd make all the
Oh,
comment.
I don't want to tie it into that movie necessarily, but
Oh no, you totally have to. Uh, and he makes comment. You don't actually like reference it directly, and
yeah.
you probably don't even tell his full name, and or even say his name. But he's just like there for part of it, and he's just like, oh, not this shit again. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, nothing, or
Looks like
something.
I picked the wrong week to quit killing aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
Kicking alien butt. Welcome
Or
to Earth.
or he's the one that's like, here's what you need to do. You need to, and then he gets killed by one of the aliens.
It's something really important you need to do first, and then
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
destroyed.
Before
He
you can
comes
use this device, you
comes through
have
the window, and yeah,
so that you don't destroy the whole Earth. You have to, and then
yeah. It's like I still remember there was that movie with the mutant shark that they made, the genetically enhanced shark that could swim backwards. Samuel Jackson's part in the movie is like, well, we got to do this with the shark, and then it just comes out and eats him, and he's done.
yeah,
Like, okay, that
it's
was.
like
It's very important that we do this.
yeah, yes.
I'm dead.
As
Yeah,
as Shatner said in Airplane 2, irony can be really ironic sometimes.
it can. Well, it's like we have Samuel Jackson for one day, so what are we
Yeah,
gonna do?
let's have him eaten by a mutant
Let's have.
shark. That'd be great.
Well, I'm sure that was part of it. It's like he can't really be a character that lives because we've only got him for a day or two.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got to figure out a way to and that was pretty funny. I thought that was a funny way to do it. So
Yeah, that was like wow. That was didn't see that
who
coming.
was in that? Thomas Jane was in that, right? And Saffron Burrows
Yeah,
and LL Cool J. What a
was that
cast, man!
Deep Blue? What was the name of that movie? Is that
Deep
what it
Blue
was?
Sea.
Deep Blue Sea. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
I
not
don't
a
know.
very good movie, but
I saw it in the theater. What do I know?
it was not.
I
Very
like
good.
Thomas Jane though. I mean,
Yeah,
I think he's always pretty good. So I'm yeah, here's the thing. I'm surprised he hasn't been. I hate to say it this way, but more successful.
well, he had a TV series for like 4 or 5 seasons. That's not
Yeah, that's true. I guess
shabby.
that's true. That's true. That's true. Where he
So
just played a guy with a giant cock, right? That was
yeah,
it.
he was a gigolo. It was great.
But he had a giant cock.
Yeah, that was the whole point. Yeah.
Would you call that a doom cock? Maybe.
uh,
Or would it
yes.
be? Or is that better? Or is cock of doom better?
The
I
whole
don't
thing
know.
is stupid.
The
But
whole thing is distasteful. And
yes,
I've said cock too many times on the show already.
yeah, you have. This is
What was? All right. Well, let's just go to picks. I had some other point, but I don't remember what it is. Let's just go to picks then,
all right. Let's
because
go to picks.
this is going nowhere.
Yeah, we kind of run out. I think.
And
at
my
this point.
pick this week will not be a dildo or anything like that. So.
Or Doom related or cock related.
Or cock related. It's a cock
Okay.
ring. That is a funny joke in Deadpool 2, though. He says when he says
Yes.
to I'm gonna make a cock ring out of you. Anyway,
Yes. That would. Yeah.
clever. And then they put a cable in his butt. It was funny.
That was hysterical. That was
It
great.
was hysterical. Yeah. Okay, so what's your pick today, Joe?
Oh, I'm gonna drive you crazy because I'm gonna pick a new song by my favorite band, Marillion. They're going out on tour. Their new album isn't out till next year, but their manager
Marillion.
released a song that they're going to be singing, a new song they're going to be singing on tour to people that pre bought the album. So we got to preview a song. It's a exceptional song. If you're into Marillion, you'll love it. If you're into prog rock and long songs, because this one's like over almost 10 minutes long, you'll like it. But it's a fantastic song, and it's certainly of the times. And you should definitely check it out when you're able to. So there you go. I won't go on and on about Marillion.
Oh, do go on and on.
No, I will not. I've talked too much. What's your pick?
I've said too much.
I've said too much. Yeah.
I did not pick a song this week.
Okay.
I'm as many people probably know, I'm a bit of a coffee nerd and coffee snob, I guess, as some people
No.
call me. Yes. So part of that is making the coffee the way that you want to make it, but also part of it is what you put it in to drink it. So my pick this week is my favorite company that makes my favorite coffee mugs, a company called Not Neutral. And I might have picked them before, but I just happened to be drinking a coffee out of their cup this morning, and I was like, I should talk about these guys again. So basically, the company originated with in Los Angeles, in LA.
I lie.
they work with baristas at various coffee places and developed a cup and stuff for to enhance the sort of delivery of coffee. And again, it's very nerdy and it's very coffee snobby. But if you go to any really good coffee houses in Los Angeles or other big cities like I'm sure Portland too, you will find these cups everywhere. If you look under it, they'll say not neutral because that's you'll recognize them because they have like the flat top where you put your thumb. But the important thing is they're really well designed. They're porcelain, which means that they hold the heat inside, but you can touch them with your hand and you will not get burned. And that's really important, especially with hot beverages. I've turned a lot of people onto these because they're so shocked that I can hold this perfectly and I don't even feel the heat at all. Yet the beverage is hot, so that's one of the amazing things about it. But they're not cheap. Each cup is like $12, but I don't know if that's too much to pay for a coffee mug. I have a bunch of them, but only because I drink coffee a lot and they never break. I mean, I've had them for years and they've been in the dishwasher 1,000 times. They've never gotten broken. But I have to wash them. My wife is afraid to wash them in case she breaks one, and then I'll be mad, which I wouldn't be. But
no.
So I end up having to wash them myself. But anyway, if you like hot beverages like tea or coffee, they make a couple of different sizes. They make plates and espresso cups now, and they make a bunch of different stuff. But I originally got the 10-ounce coffee mugs in white because that's what they had at the coffee places. And I've had them for years, and they've been great. So it's Not Neutral is the name of the company, and it's the Lino coffee mug. So check it out.
All right. Cool. Sounds good.
It's definitely worth it. Yeah, it's worth it. You know what, man? Everyone thinks I'm silly, but I mean, in this house at least, for many reasons, but that's one of them. It's like, I have to have my particular mug for coffee, but it never fails. It's one of those things where you buy once and it always works and you never have to think about it again.
We have an inordinate amount of mugs in our house against the number of people who drink beverages that go into those kind of mugs. So
sure.
I'm not against adding more, and I will say I have spent more than $12 for a mug. So
they vary. The size like $12, $14, $18 depending on. But you don't have to buy a ton of them. I mean, you could buy like two, right? And then you wash one and you have one clean if you're that economical. They had a sale once, and I bought like a box of like 10 or something. It was like not cheap, but now I never have to worry about it again.
Right.
But now they have colors, of course, and everything, and they didn't have all this when they first started. I've had these mugs, like I said, for 15 years maybe, and they've never once chipped, never once broken, nothing. It's just, But again, I'm the kind of person who likes to buy quality stuff and never have to worry about it again. Like I never want to buy another couch. I'm like that character in Fight Club. It's like, I've got that sofa handle. I don't have to worry about that again. So.
Oh, they have glassware too.
They do. They have flatware and glass. Not flatware, but they don't have any utensils. But they have like glassware and they have plates and stuff too now. But they never had all that stuff before. But they're a good group, and many of the people in the company are women, which I appreciate. Anyway, that's it. Okay, so anything else for you, Joe?
No, I think I've said enough.
You've said enough. You mentioned you got to fit Marillion in.
I did. I got to mention Marillion, so I'm happy. Yeah. And
so, all right. So find the Flickcast again at Spotify, at Apple Podcasts, at Google, at Amazon, iHeartRadio, any place you find podcasts, we can be found there too. We will not let you down. Or we
That's right.
And of course, if you love the show as much as I do, you can certainly give the show a few bucks, which goes towards production and stuff. It doesn't go in our pockets or anything. It just goes back into the production of the show and all that. So that's patreon.com/theflickcast. And then, of course, Joe's on What Joe Writes, and I am at Chris Yu, and the Flickcast is at TheFlickcast on the socials. So give us a hard time or, just say hi, whatever you want.
Or, praise. We're not above that. So...
you know what, man? I've been doing this a long time now, and praise, although is wonderful, is not. We're not doing it for the money.
No,
and we're not doing it for the love, obviously. So
I'm pretty confident in what we do, and I like it, so that's all that matters.
That's right. Well, that's it. That's the thing about that we'll always say about, not that this is art per se, but about creating things. You have to create it because you want to, not because anyone else is telling you should do it or not do it. Because most people don't think it's shit. So
exactly.
Just please yourself. Make yourself happy if you can.
There you go.
Cool. All right. So for Joe Dilworth, I'm Chris Ulrich. That was the Flickcast. Thanks so much for listening.